yesterday we are saying that as we are noting every arising mind-body objects, immediately arising mind-body objects, at the moment of the arising with the method of Satipatthana, then we can deal with these mental diseases by weakening them and gradually eradicating them. These defilements such as greed or craving will not have a chance to arise if you are mindful. They will be weakened and gradually they will be eradicated. So if you are not mindful, then your mind will be reactive. Untrained mind, as we say, untrained mind is very reactive. When there is a desirable object, there will be strong desire. Lobha will rise in degrees, first in a small way and then in a large extent, to the extent of going out of control into transgressive actions by body and speech. Same thing with the undesirable objects, the disagreeable objects. There will be dissatisfaction, disappointment from in a small way to rising in degree in a large way, and leading to transgressive actions by body and speech. If you do not know the truth, you know wrongly, and you are shrouded in darkness, hindered by ignorance, then there will be distorted views. Not knowing the truth, knowing in the wrong way. And because you are mindful at the moment of rising, you will know the realities as they are, as much as you are mindful, such as the existence of mind and body. If you are not aware, then you will be distorted. You will hold distorted views, perverted views. Now you know the truth, therefore there will be no distorted views, perverted views. And there will be no madness by indulging in these defilements such as greed, hatred and delusion, because they are weakened. And because you are strong enough, you are able to gain the upper hand of these undermining impurities. So then as the mind is cultivated, developed, then so will be the mind-produced materiality, namely especially the blood which circulates through our body, which this will become pure and efficient, of high quality, so that there will be health. You become healthy. When at last you are able to cultivate knowledge, then your materiality, the body, will become very pure and clear, free of impurities, and blood circulation also will become very pure. You become healthy. Not to mention ordinary organic diseases. And moreover, there will be because you are prudent enough with the practice of Satipatthana, you will not take these intoxicants. You will not become mad with intoxicants. Nor will there be any frenzy as a result of these unseen beings such as demons and devils. In rare cases, of course, one is said to be possessed by demons and devils, and these possessions can be like a trance-like work of good or bad spirit, maybe, or a benign dead relative. Such activities manifest the decline of rationality. Now we are practicing to be rational, so such activities like being possession by devils, bad spirits, good spirits, manifest the decline of rationality. There will be widespread flight from the rationale. And then you will not be possessed like this, and then only when, of course, the surest way, you only be sure, you become sure of freedom from such madness, is when you realize the path consciousness become the noble one. Then you'll be free of madness, especially madness as a result of kilesas, indulging in defilements. And there may be only trivial annoyances, but nothing serious. And we have also discussed how to uproot. The method of uprooting is spiritual mental diseases like madness, and brief with the illustration of four postural changes like sitting from standing position, or from standing from sitting position, or walking and standing. All these things are major postural changes. When you'll be able to know the nama, rupa, mind and body, for those who are very carefully noting. And when should such things be noted? They should be noted at the moment of arising, at the moment of sitting, at the moment of standing, walking, and sitting, and so on. First of all, we just note and know the materiality, rupa, and the main, because that's more obvious. Later, when we are free of hindrances, disturbances, then we will not just the materiality, the body, we also come to know how the mentality, how mentality arises together with materiality. Because when you are sitting, for instance, first there will be intention to sit, followed by the sitting process. There will be the intention in stages, followed by the successive sitting, which is the materiality. They occur in pairs, and that will be discovered by respectful, careful yogis. These experiences, findings are not from hearsay or from thoughts or imagination or from books or teachers. They are directly experienced, atatpachaka, direct knowledge, or paramattha, the ultimate realities. It's quite obvious. Also, in the case of walking, when you are lifting, moving and placing, you're bound to observe the mind and body in pairs, such as the intention to lift, followed by the actual lifting process. And when you're moving, the intention to move and the actual moving process. And placing also, intention to place and the placing process. In this way, the mind and body will become obvious. Now, if you want to know this, note and know, if you want to observe mind and body, then you note at the very moment, at the moment of arising. Because at the moment of lifting, it is this intention to lift, and the foot lifts up, feeling lightness, or you feel you're being lifted up from bottom. Something is lifting you up, pushing you up. And you're in moving also, you feel that something is pushing you from behind, or something is pulling you from front. And this is the nature of movement, the manifestation of the wind element. This will also become obvious. And when you're placing, you just release your foot to come down, then there will be this feeling of heaviness, and when it touches the ground, you feel hardness of the ground, and pressure, and so on. All these things are sabhavas, the natural unique characteristics. And to know the mind and body sabhavas at the moment of lifting, moving, placing, you got to activate your mindfulness steadfastly. Then you will come to observe these mind body sabhavas. Now, at this moment, after the practice, yogis come to observe. It is observed that yogis can observe these things because they are respectful and careful. It is quite satisfying, and because they cherish the Dhamma, they cherish the practice. And if we are to say, like your children, we say that they are lovable, dear yogis. Every time you are changing these postures from sitting, standing to sitting, or walking, such as lifting, moving and placing and so on, there can arise in the body these feelings, sensations. In the beginning, these good and bad feelings are more obvious than neutral feeling, such as this hardness, harshness, which are the elements, manifestation of element, Prithvi. Then heat or you feel heat or cold or warmth, manifestation of the element of temperature. And then the excessive stiffness, tension, movement, are the manifestations of the element of the wind, Vaya Dhatu. So in the body, in all these four postures, every time you change, there's bound to be such feelings. And whenever you feel this external object comes into contact or strikes the base element, in this case kaya pasada, body sensitivity, sensitive parts of the body, you are bound to suffer, you are bound to feel painful, kayika dukkha vedana, physical pain, physical suffering. Sometimes you feel like pin pricks, these things, because they are like pins piercing your, coming into contact with your body sensitivity or sensitive parts of the body, kaya pasara. And when there's excessive heat, the weather is hot or the weather is cold, then also you will feel this unbearable or bad feeling, unpleasant feeling, dukkha vedana, when there is excessive heat or cold. And then also sometimes you feel stiffness in the body, excessive stiffness so that you cannot bear it. That again is a painful sensation. Or sometimes you feel tired when you're walking too much. That also tiredness also is dukkha vedana, painful sensation. All these things, the manifestations of earth element, temperature element, wind element, Prithvi, Tejo, Vaya will become very evident because sometimes they become unbearable. This such dukkha vedana are the sabhava, knowing the sabhava lakkhana, the natural characteristic, as being unbearable. Pain, feeling of pain, feeling of suffering. And then the yogis will come to know the nature of this physical pain, painful sensation as being unbearable. And when you go on feeling it, for example, while you're sitting for a long time, you feel very tired, very painful in the lower part of the body. You feel very much wearied and exhausted, sometimes to the extent of becoming depressed, disheartened. When will that end? That sort of thing. Such feeling, such knowing, such characteristic is knowing the function of this sensation, in this case unbearable, painful sensation. Then in the mind there will be mental distress due to this physical pain. You feel as though you are oppressed, tortured, when you are, especially when you are going in the sun barehead, not wearing any umbrella or using an umbrella, you feel very like you being tortured. That is the manifestation of this painful sensation. So yogis will come to observe these qualities, such as the natural characteristic of painful sensation, of its function and its manifestation, such as the contemplation of feeling. In this case, noting this kayika dukkha, bodily pain, and this amounts to vedana nupassana satipatthana, the practice of contemplation of feelings. So when you are feeling physically in the body unbearable sensation, that is materiality, and the feeling that comes out of it is mentality. All this, and the noting mind, noting and knowing mind, again is a mentality. So in this case, you can observe this materiality, mentality in pairs for those who note very carefully. As much as there are bad feelings, bad sensations and unpleasant sensations in the body, there can also arise good, pleasant sensations such as softness, gentleness, like though you are sitting on a cotton. All these are the manifestations of the earth element, Prithvi Dhatu. Suppose when the weather is hot and there's a little breeze coming into you, touching, rubbing your body, you feel very good. You feel cool. That's good feeling. And when you feel very cold, at night or in the morning, you have warm clothes on or warm air coming in, getting in touch with that. Or when you're sitting in a good sitting, you have you're balanced. You're said to be balanced in terms of heat and cold. There's neither too hot nor cold, just warm feeling, good feeling, almost neutral, neither too hot nor cold, and the levitation and feeling lightness. And without the stiffness of tension, there can be the softness, pliability of the body, feeling restful. Such things are good feeling. And when you're still, quiet, sometimes quietness you enjoy this quietness. When you're moving too much, then you don't feel good. When you start quieting down, calming down your physical movements, you feel good, because your kaya prasada, body sensitivity, comes into contact with good object. There is good feeling, sukha. So when there is good feeling, your mind becomes very light and fresh. This is the function of this feeling. And when there's good feeling in the body, you enjoy it, and it's quite obvious that you enjoy it, you become happy. So as much as there is mental good feeling, there can be as much as there is mental distress, there can also be this mental happiness, manasika dukkha, manasika sukha. And then such feelings will become obvious for practicing yogis. There's no need to read books to understand these natural or unique characteristics, sabhava. There is this striker element. There are 6 striker elements, striking the 6 base elements, giving rise to or causing 6 ignitions in the form of ignition elements in the form of consciousness, 6 kinds of consciousness, 6 kinds of phassa, contact, and 6 kinds of feeling. Let us say when you are hearing, if you notice the moment of hearing, there are these first sound waves, which are the striker elements. And sound can be both internal and external. There can be internal sound in the body, like from the abdomen, rising and falling. It can make sound when you're coughing and so on, or grinding your teeth. So these internal sound, external sound waves are the striker elements which strike the base element, in this case the ear sensitivity, the sensitive part of the ear. And this giving rise to the ignition element in the form of hearing consciousness, hearing contact and feeling contact of the base element or the ignition element. And they don't make contact in the air. They make contact in the ear, or at the ear sensitivity, or in the sensitive part of the ear. And that is called phassa, contact. And then there will arise, this will give rise to good feeling, good or bad. So all these will be observed if you know carefully. You don't have to read books to know these things. So as regards these three kinds of elements, base element, strike element, ignition element, there is no such thing as a living entity, atta, self or soul. Excuse me. Neither is there self or soul in the base element, nor in the strike element, nor ignition element. In the ignition element, just the consciousness, that's all, and there's no self or soul in it. There's only contact or feeling and so on, nothing else. Just sabhavas, these characteristics, and there's no living, devoid or living entity. And if you want to know, observe them, just note at the moment of hearing. At the very moment of hearing, you will come to observe these mind and body in pairs, such as the striker element, in this case the sound, which is materiality, and the base element, in this case the ear sensitivity, which is the materiality, rupa, and then this ignition element, consciousness, contact and feeling, which is the mentality, nama. And this is how you observe. Either you are hearing automatically from internally, from the body, internally, or from outside, sound. You hear something, and then your hearing, and you come to observe in this way. And then you hear only when your ear is in good condition. You are sensitive to hearing. If you are not sensitive, suppose you are deaf, a little deaf or much deaf, then you won't hear anything. So also that's why hearing, this consciousness depends on the condition of your ear base element. And the ignition element becomes very obvious. It is hearing consciousness, contact and feeling, good, bad or neutral. So this ignition element did not exist initially, or does not exist initially. It comes into existence only when the strike element strikes the base element. And in other words, the sound waves hit or strikes the ear base, the eardrum. Hence we say that it is conditioned. It is a conditioned phenomena. It is subject to cause and effect linkage or process. Just like in the case of striking your match with a matchbox. You have your matchstick, you have the matchbox with some nitrate or phosphorus, something like that, something which can ignite. Then initially this light ignition does not exist. Only when you strike the stick on the box will there be any the ignition. So that's why it is subject to cause. It is due to a certain cause. Hence it is conditioned. And there's no such thing as some omnipotent being, unseen being, which causes hearing. Hearing is caused by the base element striking the strike element, giving rise to ignition element. And there's only this cause and effect linkage and nothing else. This will be observed at the moment of noting. So as you are mindful at the moment of hearing, you come to observe these three elements: strike element, ignition element, and base element and the ignition element. So too in the case of ear, other sense impressions such as seeing, tasting, touching and so on, there will be this respective elements: base element, strike element and ignition element, without any atta, self or soul or living entity in it. Instead there is only just sabhava, the natural unique characteristics, such as the mind and body in pairs. So noting at the moment of its arising, you come to know this psychophysical phenomena. And with the practice of this method, if you are not mindful, then you will hold on to the view of the existence of living entity as individual self or soul, and this will not, you will not be free of that. And knowing the realities with the practice of Satipatthana, you become free of this Atta Ditthi view of self or soul, and such knowledge does not arise from your imaginations or fantasy or thoughts. It is your direct view of reality. As the saying goes, if you say from just hearsay or from imaginations, from thinking, without any experiential knowledge, then it will not be sincere reporting. Whereas if you report or present your findings from actual experience with the practice of noting, with the practice of mindfulness, you will come to know, you will be knowing the truth, and your reporting will be sincere and correct. Now for the yogis, during the first few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, these things that we just discussed have not been given in advance. So the question may be posed, why don't the teachers give such answers in the beginning? Why give us why not give these answers, the results of the practice? Now if the results are not given, because if the results are given, say the yogis are told that you will find these such and such observations, you will come to realize such observations. If you note and so, you will find so and so. Then you are given answers. So why practice? You are already getting the answers. You are practicing in order to find the answer by yourself. So if you are given these answers, if you note rising, you will find this, so. If you note falling, you will find this, and then you will cultivate this kind of knowledge and all that sort of thing. Then what will happen? The yogis will follow suit. They follow the lead, and then they will report accordingly to their teachers. The teachers will, oh, yogis so quick, so quick. They cultivate knowledge so quick. They gain insight. That sort of thing. So unless they might follow lead, these answers were not given. They are the answers which are the knowledge of the realities, real knowledge, not the conceptual knowledge. If you are given these answers, you will be reporting from conceptual concepts, not the realities. So there's a difference between concept and the realities. So that you won't report from concepts, these answers are not given in advance. So the teachers only give the methods of observation, method of practice, how to find, how to look for it, not what to find, how to look for it. Like in your research work, in your research work, you have no answer as yet. The teachers give you the method of doing research, not the result of the research. Result of the research does not come first. It is just like the analogy given here is when you are working an arithmetical sum in your school days, not now. So there are two parts of arithmetical sum. The working part, there will be stepwise, many steps to work out. This plus this plus that, and take out this minus, multiply, and so on. These are the working stages. Then comes finally the answer. Answer is only a very small one. Working is a lot. so many lines, so many stages, so many steps. So the teacher gives only the method of walking. Your teacher never gave you the answer of the arithmetical sum. The answer has to be worked out by yourself. That will be your experiential knowledge, the real knowledge, realities. And if you work out this arithmetical sum according to the method or formula given by the teacher, school teacher, meticulously, respectfully, carefully, not being vacant, then you are bound to get the answer finally. And if you work out for one step, there will be one step answer for one step. If you work out second step, there will be another answer of another step. And you go on working until you finish your arithmetical sum. At last, all at once, then you get the final answer. This will be your experiential knowledge. Then the teacher will give credit, give marks, or full marks if the answer is correct. He may also look at your working, and you may be copying somebody else's answer. So the teacher has to look at your working, whether the working is correct, and the answer tallies with the answer. Then he or she, the teacher, will give you credit, full marks. So the yogis, so too with the yogis, not to report from hearsay, from concept, but from the real experiential knowledge. Just like this, this working of an arithmetical sum. And for those who practice or know respectfully, carefully, they are bound to experience by themselves the answer to this problem. The teachers love those students who work out this sum according to the formula given, and if without working, if they just give the answer, then such answer will not be recognized by the teacher, arithmetical teacher, mathematics teacher, because there is no working involved in it. He or she is just giving, the student is just giving the answer. There's no recognition. And the teachers love workers, those who work, those who note. Even if as for the student, even if the answer may be wrong a little bit, very close to it, and if they are working, if they try their best according to the formula given, then the teachers will like or love such students. So too with the meditation. Meditation teachers try to observe the yogis, whether they are working, that means whether they are practicing meticulously according to the instructions given, noting, to guard your mind with diligent mindfulness of every arising, sustaining mindfulness continuously. So the teachers are very careful about such students, such yogis, and especially those yogis who are very imaginative, whose minds are away, and whose women are vacant, which is spaced out or vacant, not at home, imaginative, prone to fantasies. Then the teachers are very careful about such yogis, not to give answers to them. Otherwise, they will follow lead from their imaginations. But this doesn't apply to the yogis who are here. Yogis here are very sincere. At times, as I say, he is thinking that the Westerners, especially who are very imaginative, were at once the relatives or related to Elder Sariputta, the chief disciple, the marshal of the Dhamma, during the Buddha's time. Now, as for these, there are two, in this case, in this connection, there are two chief disciples of the Buddha, namely Elder Sariputta and Elder Moggallana. After they are friends, and they practice together, and after they have attained the Sotapanna, they practice for higher stages of insight, higher stages of path consciousness. And as for the Elder Moggallana, he attained to the final stage within 1 week. As for the Sariputta, who was a marshal, who was to become a marshal of the Dhamma, next to the Buddha, he took another week, an additional week, to come to the final path. So, as for this Sariputta, besides Buddha, he was the most knowledgeable in the Dhamma, and he is called a marshal of the Dhamma. Actually, being a marshal of the Dhamma, he should be able to attain the higher stage much before his friend, who was not so. But he was very careful, and he was very intellectual, very intelligent, very high knowledge. So when one has high, very great knowledge, wisdom, one is bound to intellectualize as to what is this, why is this, thinking, analyzing any object, any case, any phenomena by means of 1,000 means, in 1,000 means, as said in the text, but not for the other Elder Moggallana. He just noted whatever arose, and then very soon he attained to the final stage. Not the Sariputta, because he was much wisdom. So I was saying that the Westerners, especially who are imaginative, intellectual people who are intellectualizing, might have been related to this Elder Sariputta, marshal of the Dhamma, in one way or another in the past existences. That means it's not appreciation to the Westerners. So when it comes to any matter, anything, then they will try to analyze it in many ways. Why did it happen? With many questions, because they have much wisdom. But as for this intellectualization or reasoning out, the method of reasoning is different. As for the Elder Sariputta, the marshal of the Dhamma, he practiced the Satipatthana, and he was able to cut through to knowledge in a very clear-cut manner. That is experiential knowledge, Peccaka Jnana, direct knowledge. He gains knowledge first, and above that, based on that, he intellectualizes it, not based on nothing, not just without any base. And based on this Peccaka Jnana, direct knowledge, he tried to analyze or intellectualize by method of inference or logical method. So first of all, he had to gain this experiential knowledge. Based on that, with the foundation first grounded in this experiential knowledge, and based on that, he intellectualized, he analyzed. Not the way most people analyze in these days. In these days, they probably base their intellectualization on conceptual knowledge, not the real knowledge. That's why yogis are exhorted, if they continue the practice elsewhere or here, not to follow the method of the Elder Sariputta, to intellectualize, to reason out, but to follow the method of Elder Moggallana, so that you will have quick attainment, fast attainment, and based on the sure experience you may, if you want, you may or may not analyze it. Then only you gain insight very quickly. Now to just put it down in practice, to illustrate this reasoning out or intellectualization, let us say when you are going to sit, at that moment when you notice sitting, then there is this intention in stages followed by the actual sitting process, which is the materiality. In this way you become aware of this mind and body through your own personal experience clearly. Such is known as Attapachaka, direct experience, direct knowledge. You note it and you know it as this is correct. Excuse me. You note it and you see it and you report as such what you observe, what your own personal observation, which is correct, which is true. As much as this mind and body occurs in you when you are sitting, such as the intention to sit and the sitting process, there will occur also in others this nama-rupa mind-body, intention to sit and sitting process at the moment of sitting in others. Such is inferential knowledge. You are just drawing a deduction that this will all as much as it happens to me, it will happen in others. So this such inferential intellectualizing reasoning out can happen, but if it's too much, that's not good. Not going to be very good. So such is inferential knowledge, such is intellectualization, and but you may intellectualize on this based on your real experience, but not to intellectualize on nothing. That will be just waste of time for you and others. Now, besides this noting and to know the mind and body, or the knowledge of the discernment of mind and body, if one is not continuing to practice, then one will not come to know the reason of this arising, of this mind and body arising. You will know what arises, or maybe to some extent how it arises, but not yet why it arises. And why does this mind and body arise? Are they causeless? Even if you think they are due to cause, you may not be aware of the linkage of the relevancy, linkage or relevancy of cause and effect linkage. That is, relevant cause giving rise to relevant effect. If you not continue to activate mindfulness, practice mindfulness, and if you stop at this stage, you will not become aware of this cause of linkage or conditionality, and you may think that these mind-body are causeless, or from hearsay, or from the thoughts with blind faith, you may hold the view of the cause, that they are due to cause, but this cause is caused by some omnipotent being. So taking what is not cause as cause, this is called fictitious cause view. So not knowing the conditionality of the mind and body, although you now know the mind and body, as we have discussed previously, but you will not understand the relevancy of cause and effect. So in order to be clear of the conditionality and the relevancy of conditionality, you've got to continue to practice mindfulness. After you have come to the knowledge of mind and body, that is, this is the mind, this is the body, this is the noted mind, this is the noted object, this is the intention, this is the sitting, standing, whatever, then you continue to be mindful. You come to see the cause and effect process, that this cause gives rise to this effect, not other effect, not other cause. And there's nothing extra, so that you become clear of doubts. And if you don't continue to practice, you will not be aware of this relevancy of cause and effect. When you are going to sit, there is this intention to sit, which is the cause, and then there is sitting process. This sitting process, which is the materiality, is not causeless. The cause lies in the intention. Intention is the cause, and the actual sitting materiality is the effect. If there is no intention, there will be no sitting process. Therefore, at the moment of sitting, there is the intention, which is the cause, and the effect, sitting, and there is only this cause and effect, and nothing extra, nothing else besides that. And in this sitting intention also, there is no omnipotent being, no high power, supreme power. There's only the intention. You cannot look for a power, a supreme power, to make you sit. Intention here is the cause. You may call intention as the power, or whatever you call it, this is the cause. So at the moment of sitting, there is this only cause and effect, and nothing extra that will be observed at the moment of sitting, and then this cause effect also will be with relevancy of cause and effect. That is, only this cause gives rise to this effect, not other effect. So you become clear of doubt about the cause and effect. That is one step of insight knowledge. Previously, you have clear awareness. Now you are clear of doubts. You have no doubts in you. And we shall continue this subject tomorrow. We shall continue this subject tomorrow. We shall continue this subject tomorrow. We shall continue this subject.